Hi.
Hey.
Okay, so this morning I came down here, and it's up at 6, and came down at 7:30, and I noticed the line was already formed, right? And so that kind of took me, because I wanted to be right there. That's what I wanted. That's what I desired.
You wanted to be right there.
Yeah. Oh, and that guy's got my vote, by the way. And so then he didn't have my, there was an issue with my forum not being available for me. So as we're trying to, Gene and Barbara and our friend over here was looking for the forum, I noticed the line was growing, right? And not what I wanted, right? Contrast. So instead of, I can relate to the previous gentleman with, abuse and that kind of thing. So I want to say natural instinct, but it kind of like learned behavior would be get upset and to be like, oh man, But I took a moment, took a step back to a broader perspective, and your words rang out to me. Are you enjoying the contrast? Right? So now, I was like kind of like easing back, like, oh yeah, it's okay. It's all good. And, everything totally worked out to my benefit. Karen and Rebecca saved me a seat. I made 2 new friends. All these beautiful things. But then, now we came in here today and you said, are you enjoying the contrast? Are you appreciating the contrast? And I said, yes, very. And you go, I don't believe that you are. Could you elaborate on that specific thing? I mean, is that correct for me to look at something and something that I'm not wanting and like accept it, to be okay with it?
Well, the process that you followed obviously was a good one.
Yeah.
Remember, we said you can tell how you're doing first by how you're feeling, and next how it's manifesting. So we'd say you're doing all right on that. We also want to amplify something that you described that you experienced deliberately, and that is you began to step into the feeling of shortage consciousness. Shortage of space, shortage of chairs, shortage of good seats, shortage of getting what you're wanting. Caught yourself in the process, began breathing deeply, did something about it, and didn't let the momentum of that get going. In other words, you experienced some contrast and used it to your advantage. It helped you to focus into what you were wanting, you see. And the reason that we were eager to have a conversation with you about this is because we know that when sometimes what our physical friends think that we're saying is you want to avoid contrast or you want to avoid any negative emotion, as if you're doing something wrong when you find it, when what we're really saying is contrast is part of the variety. It's all part of, Jerry always said, we're just molded into place. We're just molded into place. So you had an opportunity when your form was missing and when the line was long to allow some momentum to go in the direction that would have taken you to a seat not as pleasant and held you in a vibrational attitude that would have kept you from lighting up for us so that we did not find you. But you didn't do that. You molded it into place. You recognized from the anxiety or the frustration that you were feeling that you were beginning to introduce some contradiction into a vibration that had been clearer. Undoubtedly, you were thinking to yourself, wait a minute, how did this happen? I got up early, I had very clear intentions, what went wrong? And that's what sometimes people feel is that Esther sometimes will say, I don't believe I ever really had a negative thought about that. And we say not specifically, but in general, there must be something that is going on. As a result of having the negative emotion, feeling it a little bit, catching yourself deliberately, stepping back, as you say, relaxing on purpose, acknowledging that it's all good, massaging into the thought, adjusting your vibration, not only did you not allow the negative momentum to take you where you didn't want to go, but you got the momentum going more powerfully in the direction of what you did want. And so sometimes manifestations take a little while to unfold. There's not instant manifestation here. You didn't chill out and suddenly disappear from out there and show up in the hot seat. We didn't come out and find you here. What are you doing here? I don't know. I was out there a minute ago feeling bad, then I got feeling good, and poof, here I am. Didn't happen like that. It happened in a logical, sequential way. It happened with the buffer of time in the way that things always happen, you see. So what you are demonstrating here for us, if we were standing in your physical shoes, is exactly the way that we would live life. We would not be holding ourselves to unrealistic standards of always only spewing sunshine and light. We would acknowledge that there are things that we want and there are things that we don't want, but we would be leaning really in the direction of what is wanted. And as you just did, we would be for sure making the best that we could make of every situation. We would never amplify something unwanted and deliberately increase the momentum in the direction of unwanted.
Okay. So then there's a process. So I would say right, or it was okay for feeling that negative emotion, but it would have been ill of me. It would have been negative or detrimental to my experience, to my individual experience, if I would have fed into those habitual negative feelings, like my sense of entitlement.
But you didn't do it.
And right.
You didn't do it. You've come past that. It is not likely that you will go there again.
No.
We've always had fun. So you have sensors in your fingers to keep you from burning yourself on the hot stove. Ow. This stove should not be here. Who put this stove here? Someone should call someone. In other words, that's ridiculous. If the stove is hot, if the stove is hot, you know it immediately. You pull away from it. But negative emotions, you're not so sure about because they're justified. Mm-hmm. They're justified.
Right.
But you knew what to do, and you played it exactly right.
Right. And you said if you were in my shoes, you would not stand around as some beacon of joyous light. But
we would do that as much as we can, but we wouldn't hold ourselves to the unrealistic standard of never allowing ourselves to experience contrast or to experience choice.
Right. So you in your process, your deliberate, creative law of creation process, that if I intend something and I allow it to be, it has to be, it must be. Then, but in the allowing part, it is through my joy. It is through my intentional.
Let's just yes. But let's talk about some words here. We are at the end of the timing. We can give this to you quickly.
Okay.
So let's say that you desire something, but you doubt it. Well, there's no blending in that. In other words,
I don't doubt it.
Stay with us just a little bit. This isn't specifically pointing at you. We're just wanting to show you some things about some words or concepts that are behind the words. So you want something, but that you doubt it. When you use the word intend is a blending word with desire. Mm-hmm. When you intend something, the word determined, when you are decided about something, when you're determined about something, it's like you're just not allowing yourself the contradictory thought. So that's really what we're talking about. It's not demanding of the universe that it give you what it feels like it's not giving you, but it's an intention that you practice yourself into being. In other words, you know people who want things, they say they want them, but they don't show any real oomph about it. They don't show any real determination about it. And you know those who, when they say that something is going to happen, it's going to happen. You can just feel them molding the energy with the power of their mind, you see. And so sometimes you're sure about things than others. We're just encouraging you. When we come back from segment of refreshment and throughout the hours that are remaining, we'll talk from time to time because we really want to bring this to the forum of what constitutes an attitude, a vibrational attitude of really knowing something. Because when you want it and doubt it, there's so much contradictory energy that it's not going to happen anytime soon. When you want it and hope it, not so much contradictory energy, but enough to slow it way down. When you want it and believe it, you're on the brink of it, and all kinds of signs are coming to you. But when you know something, when you know it, when you understand the laws of the universe, when you know that you can focus, when you know that you have been focusing, when you know that you've had experiences where you've felt negative emotion and you've brought yourself back from the brink of it, when you've caught yourself not letting negative momentum carry you away, but you've turned it around and brought it into a more powerful place, in time you will begin to feel invincible, because you will know that you have a cooperative universe and laws of attraction that is always consistent, and that your singular intent is just to focus yourself into a vibrational attitude that feels good. And the truth of it is, the fact of it is, the all that it is that you cannot feel good if you have introduced contradictory vibration to something that matters to you. So ponder for a little bit the idea of determination and intention, and within that you will discover right on the tail of that what real knowing is. It's a good time for a segment of refreshment.
Thank you.